Do you agree with Deion on Manziel having ghetto tendencies?
Well, first of all, let me first say that I don't agree with Deion Sanders' choice of words. Let's be very clear about that. And in the interest of full disclosure, Skip knows this, but not very many people know this. Yes, some people, I go on the air and I tell you, I'm cool, this is my man, blah. Yeah, all of that's true. I ain't lying. But with Deion Sanders, it's on another level. We truly are very close friends. There's a strong level of admiration that I have for him. And when I say we're close friends, I'm talking about he is a guy that I would say I speak to every single week. I haven't spoken to him in the last 24 hours since he made those comments or whatever. I tried to reach him this morning. I couldn't. But let me preface my comments by saying I know the man. That's my brother. That's my friend. We're tight. We talk every week. Love him. And he's right. He's not wrong. I just wish that his choice of words had been different. Because what he's alluding to, and in some fashion he was somewhat joking, but he wasn't joking. He was talking to my boy Roland Martin and those guys on a great Tom Joyner morning show. But let's be clear about what he's alluding to, Skip, so everybody in America understands. When you are from the quote-unquote ghetto, which is a word that I wish Deion Sanders did not use to apply bravado with and sticking out your chest or whatever the case may be, it doesn't mean that he was erroneous or false in what he was saying. I only have a problem with him using the word ghetto because the ghetto isn't the only place bravado and machismo and braggadocio is limited to. There are very many people that weren't born and raised in the ghetto that are just like that themselves. So let's not look at folks from the ghetto and assume that humility is something that they're devoid of. And that's the only reason I disagree with what Deion Sanders' the choice of words. But he is right when he talks about Johnny Manziel from the standpoint that I made it, I'm letting you know I made it, et cetera, et cetera. He's talking about that because he's alluding to folks in the ghetto, folks from depraved and desolate backgrounds that are disenfranchised, that are unknown, that fall under the radar, that are damn near nothing but a number in a lot of people's eyes, unfortunately. And then they make it out of that. And they do feel the need to let you know, I made it. Despite all the obstacles, all the trials and tribulations, all the roadblocks systemically this nation has placed before me, I still made it. That's what he's alluding to, which is why the word ghetto came into play. And what he's talking about with Johnny Manziel is, that's Johnny Manziel, even though some would argue, what the hell is Johnny Manziel feeling like that for when he's coming from oil money, for crying out loud? An affluent background and an affluent lifestyle, you know, rife with country club memberships and trips on a golf course and all of this other stuff. Well, when it comes to football, Johnny Manziel may very well feel like the people that Deion Sanders described. You doubted me. I'm too small. I don't have enough arm strength. I can't make it, etc. Texas didn't want me. I grew up wanting to go to Texas. They didn't want me. All right, so I went somewhere else, and look what I've done. You better recognize. That's what Deion Sanders was alluding to. He wasn't wrong, false, or erroneous about that. I just wish that he didn't limit such, you know, stereotypes to folks in the ghetto, because there's a whole bunch of folks that are outside the ghetto that are far more fortunate than folks in the ghetto that act and conduct themselves the same way. But I'm sure Deion Sanders didn't mean it literally like that. He was just talking to the brothers and the sisters on the morning show, urban adult contemporary radio, and he was vibing with them, and that was his choice of words. I disagree with that, but that's all I disagree with.
I like your insight into this. I'm here to tell you, from my perspective, I did not find it offensive at all. I understand why you cringed at the choice of that word. And for the record, to your point, I have known and covered kids from the ghetto, kids of all colors, who were very humble kids who weren't swept up in braggadocio, machismo, bravado, all those things that we're talking about. But here's what I want to ask you. I find on a sociological level, this is a fascinating phenomenon, fascinating development here, because we do have a white kid from oil money who is very close friends with Drake, who hangs out with LeBron James, and who has as some of his biggest fans Deion Sanders and Michael Vick on Twitter raving about him, saying he's going to be an NFL star. How do you figure that, and how surprised are you at that?
Well, listen, I think that when you look at a guy like a Johnny Manziel and who he elects to hang out with and what have you, well, first of all, it debunks a lot of theories. You know, white guys hang out with white guys and black guys hang out with black guys. No. You hang out with people that you're comfortable with, that you vibe with, regardless of ethnicity. So it should be something we embrace and applaud because it personifies the gorgeous mosaic that America claims to be. So we should applaud that. That's point number one. And point number two, and more importantly, it's a generational thing as well. Because what Johnny Manziel is saying is that don't look at me as the quote-unquote typical white guy. There's a lot of young white guys out here that relate to the brothers in a multitude of ways that previous generations never would consider. We don't have that issue. And I love it because what it does is it debunks the notion that racism is as pervasive as some of us tend to think it is from time to time.